2.1 Personality. Personality is the pattern of thoughts and feelings and the way in which we interact with our environment and other people that makes us a unique person. In sport, personality is an important aspect of success as it allows their drive and ability to react in situations, as well as what roles they are able to take upon themselves. There are three main personality traits that we may have. There is the social learning theory, the trait theory, and the interactionist theory. The social learning theory is a personality theory that was created by Albert Bandura. The theory implies that we gain new behaviours by observing and imitating others, as well as adapting to suit our environment. This is an unstable personality, as it can easily be changed. The behaviour comes from copying others, but will only be copied if reinforced. Bandura stated that learning could only take place if a learner can put in place 4 elements. These elements are attention to demonstration, retention of the demonstration, having the motor skills to reproduce the demonstration, and having the motivation to match the performance of the demonstration. It has also been shown that we are more likely to follow someone and pick up their personal traits if we are similar to them. For example, gender, age, status, personality, or the sport that we perform in. An experiment called the Bobo doll experiment was done to look at social learning, as we saw an older woman display aggression towards a doll in front of a child. This child then picked up on this aggression and later performed aggressive acts on the doll themselves, showing that they had learnt from what the older woman was doing to the doll in front of them. However, there are criticisms of the social learning theory, as it suggests that all learning takes place through observation and doesn't take into account that we may have been born with certain personality traits or our personality in the first place, as well as there may be consistencies in an individual's behaviour over time in various situations. The trait theory is one that suggests that we are born with established personality characteristics which we inherit from our genetics and aren't easily changed. They are also stable in any environmental situation that we are in. In the trait perspective, there are 2 theories which help explain it. There is the narrowband theory by Friedman and Roseman, which suggests that everyone is one of 2 personality types, either type A or type B, which have characteristics such as being highly competitive and is prone to stress, and type B being less competitive and less prone to stress. Most people would be able to characterise themselves as A or B. However, there is criticism because some people's characteristics may change depending on the situation that they are in, as someone with type B may enjoy a friendly game of tennis with a friend and have no desire to win. However, if they're in a competition final for tennis, this may change where they will have a stronger desire to win. The other theory is personality types, which suggests that there are 4 constant traits, which are introvert, which is less sociable, neurotic, which is emotionally reactive, stable, which is balanced, and extrovert, who are more sociable. However, Eysenck has stated that we have a different level of each trait, which means that we may have aspects from different traits. Different traits are good in different sports. Someone who plays sports such as football and other team sports may be better if extroverted, whereas someone who plays sports such as singles tennis may be more likely to be introverted, as they need to gain energy from themselves. It's important in all sports to be stable, as being neurotic may lead to bad decisions. There is also a scale which explains extroversion and introversion. When extroverted, you gain energy from people around you. Extroverts are normally better at high-intensity team games due to them being higher aroused and needing others for energy. However, when you are introverted from being alone and contemplation, they are better at solo sports which require a lot of focus, such as golf. However, you can be ambivalent extrovert or introvert, where you can take up both aspects. These theories can explain when we have consistent behaviour. However, it doesn't explain when there may be changes in personality depending on our situation. Interactionist theory states that we have different beliefs, values, attitudes, and interests, which determine how we react to different situations. Martin's schematic made a theory that we have 3 parts to our personality. We have our psychological core, our typical responses, and role-related behaviour. However, the personality trait comes from our own traits and the situation that we are in, which means that our responses and personality may change depending on the situation that we are in, and and depends on the environment. It also shows that we may learn personality traits from others. This shows that this is a changeable personality depending on our situation. For example, our psychological core is hard to change, and it is what we believe in. This may be that we think that someone on another team diving is wrong. However, this may change depending on the role that we are in, as if we are on the team of one of the teammates who are diving, we may not react. Serena Williams is a singles and doubles player who has 23 titles. She is a very successful player, and this may be partly due because of her personality traits. One of her traits may be social learning. This is because when she was growing up, she was taught and influenced by her father as he was her role model and teacher in tennis. This means that she may have learnt certain traits from her father, which helped her become the player that she is. She may also have aspects of the interactionist theory. This is because during interviews she has shown herself as a role model and has to be calm. However, when in other situations, such as during a final match, she will be more animated and more aggressive. Where in the US Open, she was fined $70,000 for arguing with the umpire. Some of her performance also indicates the trait theory, as she is seen as being stable, but there are times when she can become neurotic and make bad decisions such as smashing her racket. Mike Tyson was a heavyweight boxer who started his career and grew up in Brooklyn, New York, with his mother and his coach, who was Constantine D'Amato. He was very well known for his aggressive and intimidating style of boxing, as well as his behaviour when he wasn't competing. He once said, "By nature I am wild." This indicates that his personality comes from the trait theory, as he says that by nature he is wild, which means that he has always been like that from young to present. This was very much shown from his acts when not competing. When he was young, he had been arrested 38 times by the age of 13 before he started boxing. However, even after he started boxing and was in his professional career, he would still leave his coach's house and not be seen for multiple days, where in the time he would get into physical fights in everyday life. This showed that naturally he was more neurotic than stable. However, there were aspects of interactionist theory in his personality. This is because sometimes his behaviour would change depending on his situation, as when boxing he was initially seen only being aggressive when competing, and was seen as a role model when competing. However, due to him having a more neurotic personality genetically or from birth, this often overpowered everything else, made him have moments where he was wild for everyone to see, even though he was so famous and seen as a role model. Social learning may have also taken place, as he may have learned aspects of his coach's personality. However, in his last boxing match, his natural neurotic and aggressive side took over, where he bit his opponent's ear twice. This indicates that his personality is unchangeable, as even after learning and having a role, this part of his personality still came out.